Hello everyone. I'm back with another video. As I stated in my last video, I am so glad to have you all here with me. I want to recap and go back over what I went through and introduce myself for those that are new and haven't been here with me. My name is Tasha Webster. I am a mental health provider. I assist others in my community with different mental health challenges. I assist children a whole lot, but I also assist adults. But children have been my specialty lately. Um, if I recall, I want to recap with you all. Last week we were talking about breaking toxic cycles, and really, what I want to do is to kind of shed a light on these toxic cycles and toxic patterns and to shed a light on mental health, period. That's what this is for. As I stated with you all last week, we are living in a world where people are just masking. Everything that goes on is a mask. There's so much happening, and we are living in a world where we talk to where we just gotta tuck it under and keep going about our way. I also discussed with you all last week that a lot of these toxic patterns come from our raising and how we were raised. Most of the time, the parental figures in our life are the first ones that put the examples of how you are supposed to come up and how you are supposed to be and operate in society and operate in relationships. And if you didn't see a healthy relationship pattern in front of you, it is hard for you. How do you develop this as you go along, unless you just kind of cry out to your spirit and want to learn different? So, first of all, that's a recap. But this week we're going to go on to how to heal from these toxic cycles. And the first thing from healing from these toxic cycles is, number one, you have to recognize you're in a toxic cycle. A lot of people don't even recognize it. Like I said, they don't even really know that they're toxic or that they are in these cycles. But they just know that something feels off and wrong. But once you recognize that you are in a toxic cycle, it's going to be like, what are you going to do about being in these toxic cycles? Are you going to be held accountable? Are you going to hold yourself accountable to change? Or are you going to continue to mask? And I want to say it's not easy breaking toxic cycles. A lot of people choose to continue to mask. They could choose to continue to carry the charades on because that's a lot of what they know. But if you want to do better and you want to be better, you can be better. It has to be a deep down burning desire for you to be better though. But if you want to mask, you're going to continue to mask. I mean, there are so many ways, and it is more easier. I want to say it's more easier to mask than what it is to be like, okay, I got to hold myself accountable for this. I want to do better. I want to do better in my relationships. I want to stop bleeding my wounds all over people and my hurt and my pain all over everybody else. You got to come to that conclusion to where, no, I want to do this so I can be better for my family, so I can be a better person in society, so I can do better. It has to be a deep burning down desire, because like I said, what is sad is a lot of people, they don't choose that. And it is easy to mask more in this society. There's so many things to where people really are they're teaching you to mask. Like, they want you to go out and be another person. A lot of times, if you're trying to be your authentic self, you're not even accepted to be your authentic self. One of the big things that people are masking and charading around on is social media. It has made a monster and a beast out of a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, social media can be a great access to your life. It can, if you use it for productivity, it can be awesome. That's how we're getting all over the world. People are learning each other. But if you're using it to mask and have a make-believe life, and I want to use an example. For an example, even in these relationships, you see somebody that on social media all the time putting up, oh, I just got a great relationship. I just doing this and I'm doing that. But deep down inside, they get off of social media. They're sad, they're depressed, they're upset, talking about the relationship is not nothing. And now, honestly, the relationship is totally falling apart. And then you'll turn around and you'll hear in the end sometimes, well, so and so to bust up, and you be like, oh, you got to be kidding me, because they were just on Facebook or just on Instagram looking like, oh, I'm doing excellent, we're doing excellent. That's a form of masking. But anyways, moving on from that, if you want to heal and you're like, okay, I'm going to be accountable, like I said, the first thing is recognize the behavior and recognize the pattern. How does these cycles start? We already said that a lot of these cycles start from childhood. You're not taught to be your authentic self. You're not taught to share your feelings openly or communicate openly. And then, what beliefs are you taught? You're taught to don't speak out of place. Number one, or if you're doing something wrong. A lot of people are taught that way, not everybody. But when you recognize and you know that, okay, this has been a pattern, this has not helped me, my life is not moving nowhere, where I'm constantly staying and doing the same old thing and repeating the same old cycle, how can I take accountability? And taking accountability without blaming yourself versus blaming yourself. Accountability is responsibility. Blaming is like making yourself feel guilty about a situation. Don't feel guilty about anything, because here's the thing. A lot of the times when these cycles have came on, it's been no fault to you. And they didn't come on overnight. And God forbid, they're not going to leave overnight. It takes time. This is something that could be embedded in a DNA and just passed down and passed down. So it takes more of accountability and self-responsibility without blaming. What does healthy accountability look like to you, in your life? How are you going to take healthy accountability without blaming? What are the things that you can do? Some of the things you can think of to take healthy accountability without blaming yourself. And then, if you got a good person that holds you responsible or give you constructive criticism, can you respond to that constructive criticism without getting upset, going off, blowing up, or blaming yourself? There again, or blaming the other person, pointing the finger, you. And I'm talking healthy constructive criticism. I'm not talking about somebody coming along and they just want to blame you and point the finger for everything, because of course that's going to put you right back in a toxic cycle, and you're going to be mad about that. And then once you take accountability and without blaming, think about some of the boundaries you want to put up for protection with yourself. Like, okay, I've done this, I've taken accountability, but now I'm going to start putting up some boundaries and some walls, for myself, to protect myself. Sometimes protection means letting go of certain things, letting go of some of the toxic things that you've been doing. Boundaries of letting go of toxic people, setting these boundaries with these toxic people, no matter who it is, and not letting no one cross your boundaries. When I put these boundaries up, I'm going to assert these boundaries. And if you want to cross my boundaries, you're gonna have to move. You're gonna have to be gone. If you can't respect my boundaries, you're gonna have to be gone. Another thing is tools, for disruption. What type of coping tools you gonna put in place for your boundaries and for you to get better? What strategies to help you interrupt these toxic patterns and these toxic boundaries? Also, a good thing is triggers. Triggers a lot. Like when I work with people and I begin to learn patterns, a lot of times people are just triggered by certain things, and they have to learn their triggers to cope better. So a lot of times when you're dealing with these toxic cycles and patterns, you have certain things that trigger you more than others, that set the patterns off more than others. So you, as you start to heal, you start to learn and recognize what are these triggers, so I can do some coping skills to, you know, hold some of this stuff back, think before acting, and different things like that. And then when you set this stuff, it's not going to be easy. You know, fear is going to creep in like, you want to change, because your mind is regulated and used to what you've been doing. It wants to keep repeating those same toxic cycles. So when you make up in your mind, now, I'm not going to keep doing this, I'm going to change, fear will roar its ugly head like, oh, what if people don't like me? Or what if people don't accept me for me trying to change and be a new me and better me? Well, I got news for you. If these people don't like you or accept you or want to talk about you, they were never supposed to be in your circle in the first place. Number one, they definitely wasn't enhancing to your emotional well-being in your life. So if you so worried about some people talking about you, or even if they are talking about you, just know that these people don't have your best interests at heart, you know. So you're going to have to work through those fears of, am I going to be accepted? Am I not going to be accepted? Am I going to be liked? But it's not about that. It's about you being your authentic self, you getting well, you healing, so you can like and love yourself, and you can like and love yourself enough to help somebody else. And so after you do all that, you can start thinking about your emotional connections, you know, just reflecting on your emotional bonds and different things like that, and how you've been in your vulnerability with others. Are you very vulnerable? Are you vulnerable with others, or have you been wearing a mask, or have you been just putting on and not being yourself because, number one, you're afraid to be your real self? What makes you feel emotionally safe? What makes you feel emotionally safe with someone? So those are other things to think about as qualities of healing. I do want to say, you know, there are some tools that can help you heal too along the way, and that can help, healthy tools. We're not talking about tools. Well, I want to say a lot of people, when they're not healed, they're masking and they're trying to self-soothe themselves with wrong things. A lot of things like going out, maybe smoking, going out, maybe just doing things to harm their body. There's a lot of things that people try to do to not be with yourself and heal properly. But some of the things I'm going to tell you you can't do to be with yourself and heal properly is, you know, after you set these boundaries and you've been accountable on different things and you want to keep this going, you know, some coping skills you can do is maybe like some mindfulness. I tell people mindfulness is one of the best coping skills. Just being mindful of how you feel, being mindful of, you know, just the things that you are doing, and stop and thinking before you react. Another tool is setting and being with yourself. It's like a form of meditation. A lot of times people think when you say meditation, you know, you're sitting there, you know, that's not it. That's not just a form of meditation, but a form of meditation can be being with yourself and having peace with yourself. You don't always need someone around you. When you with yourself, do some self-reflecting. You know, try to turn off everything. If you can turn off the phone for a minute, if you can turn off the TV, if you can turn off just talking to anybody, and reflect on how I want to feel moving forward and what can I do to move forward. Even being just a state of total gratitude for being able to be with yourself. That's healing. you know. And there's also like uplifting things. If you love music, me myself, I love music. That's one of my forms, is music. Listen to you some uplifting music. Walking in nature, that's another one of my forms. I love to get out and walk. I have found on days when I have felt like in my head or just maybe even upset about something, I'll get out and I will just walk. And it's amazing how I feel after that walk. That's not everybody's form of soothing and coping. So, what is good for you, but what is healthy? You may want to work out. You may want to just work out and you feel better. And of course, there's always therapy. If you feel that you can't do these things and these practices and you're not feeling any better, you can, you can have a therapist or talk to someone. It may not even have to be a professional therapist, but a natural support person that you trust and that that it's going to give you some good sound advice. Now, I'm not saying go talk out to somebody, and it could be an old toxic relationship, far as a friend or whatever, that have gave you wrong advice in the past. And these people know they're giving you wrong advice and leading you on the wrong road. I'm not saying talk to nobody like that or even be vulnerable with people that are not right. Sometimes they don't have your best interests and they're not sound in their mind themselves. Sometimes, you want to be vulnerable with people. That's why I say it's easy to mash. You have to seek this out. But if you're vulnerable with some people, it's sad to say, they take things and they'll try to use it against you. Oh, this person was vulnerable, so I'm going to take this and maybe some point later form down the line and use it against you or try to do something to make you upset or make you feel insecure. No, don't talk to nobody like that. But talk to, if it's somebody that you feel that's close, that you really can talk to them about it. There's always professional, but sometimes you have to seek out the right professional help as well. By all means, try some of the other things that I said before you go out, and if you feel that you have to talk to someone, but it's all okay. And as far as, your attachment style, after, think about before you started to heal, and then when you get on the road to healing, were you anxious? Were you like just jumping to conclusions? Were you, before you, just reacting before you think? Some of those things, once you start to heal, you'll start to recognize that. You'll be able to have a better attachment style, communication with others. You'll be able to talk more and listen more. Listen is a form of communication. Before reacting, think more, about the other person and what they're trying to say. When you're healthy, on a healthy road, you begin to develop more empathy and you can listen more and you can think more. But an unhealthy, toxic person, they don't really care too much about self-reflecting. And when things is going on, it's about me, I. But when you start to heal, you'll realize, okay, I can look at certain things and I don't look at it the way I used to look at it. And I can think more and I can maybe see the other person's point of view or whatever. And then you can express yourself even more and get your point more calmer and get your point over to where you're understood more and where the people around you will want to understand you more, because they'll say, okay, I'm seeing a change in this person. They're not reacting like they used to act. They are different. They really are trying to make a difference and they really are trying to prove. So that unconsciously helps other people be like, okay, I'll be better. I want to talk more to them, or I just want to do better or whatever. And then you'll also start to realize, what is my love language? How do I want to express love and how do I want to give love? I know in the past, sometimes when you have grew up in, like I said, a toxic environment, and you haven't seen a good example of expression of love. As for me, I didn't see it. What I seen in front of me was a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, a lot of confusion. It wasn't a whole lot of love there expressed. So, you know, unconsciously, some of that I believe did get in me. But I was determined to heal. So how I would express my love, with my family and also in relationships, I'm more of like a action person. I like to try to show you a lot of times. If I say I'm going to do it, I like to be there and show up for you, and do what I say I'm going to do. What I did find out, and I found out on my healing journey, as I still continue to heal, what I struggle with sometimes is maybe terms of endearment, in terms of just saying maybe different things, because like I said, I didn't see that in front of me, but I know now, I do like those things. But the main thing I like how I express love. If someone tells me they're gonna do something, I expect for you to show up for me, really show me how you care for me. But the terms of endearment, it's always good, the terms, it just enhances it. Now, don't get me wrong, with somebody going around using terms of endearment, is I love you, honey, baby, but they out here doing everything that's not, no. But terms of endearment and people showing up for you, it's a plus. So, like I said, I like to express my love by action, and I'm a touchy person. I do like touchy-feely type thing. Getting better with the words of term and of expression, but you'll learn that along the way. As you grow, and you grow emotionally, mentally, and in your spirit, you'll learn what works best for you, and it will help you as you go on, independently and in your relationships. You'll learn to be balanced and have that common ground. That's what being non-toxic, having mental wellness is. It's about being balanced, having a common ground, knowing when to come together and collaborate, but knowing when to sit back and be okay if it's just you as well. Those are all qualities of a healthy emotional state. So I am so glad, like I said, we came together and you are here with me. I am enjoying just getting out here, helping someone if I can, with different things. Moving forward, I'm going to be talking more, all stuff, mental health, all stuff, to try to improve the mental health, improve holistically healing. We'll be just talking about some things, because I know in this world, every day we're dealing with something. Every day it's a work. It's not. You get up and you put your foot hit the ground. You hitting what's going on in this world, And we got to learn to just try to tune some of this stuff out, shut some of this stuff out to work on our mental health and be sane. So tune in with me the next time to follow up. Again, I'll see you all later. You guys have a blessed one.